Now we're joined by Damian Farrell, Leighlinbridge football manager, building up to what is a very exciting week. I have to say, I'm buzzing as well. Something I thought I'd never see, given the fact that it's 17 years. Leighlinbridge back in a county championship final. The first team, of course, that we're referring to when we say that. Damer, first of all, well done in getting Leighlin into a final. You'll want to go and win it now, no doubt, obviously. But great whole buzz around the place.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Straight after the final whistle after extra time on Friday night, now the lads were there was a good buzz there, and there were 17 years, as you say, and they've been unlucky, I suppose. In the last couple of years in the semi final, maybe they're just not getting there. So I'd say there was a lot of relief from them just getting over the line and making the final.
I suppose, without taking anything away from yourself, another Air Old man is probably responsible for starting this bit of a revolution in the last couple of years.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Skippy, in 2020.
Yeah.
And, obviously another Air Old man has come in and followed suit, no doubt with probably slightly different ideas or whatever, but there seems to have been a big culture shift there the past couple of years.
Yeah, like Skippy had done great work, and we would have all been in the club. I was still involved with Aero, but you'd be always aware of what he was doing outside of it, especially with Leighlin. And he's been there a couple of times, so there's a great kind of relationship between the two of them. So we were coming in just to help build to what he had started. Hugh was in with us as well. I think he was a selector the last couple of years as well, so that's the bit of continuity. And then we've David in, who's David Kelly, who's doing fantastic work with the S&C side of it, all over the winter and all year. So it's, I suppose, lucky as well that it's probably the right time. It's just all come together.
Yeah. David in particular, very good friend of mine, played underage with him, played a little bit at level with him as well. And look, if you look at his resume, he's been involved with Carlow minor sides. He was with Joe Higgins above in Arles Killeen. And it's funny because often, what's the saying? You can be was a bad disciple in your own land, or is it a poor disciple in your own land?
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Basically undervalued a little bit, but blessed to have David in around there, like from that point.
He is. He knows his stuff. He's excellent, and he's so passionate as well that we had a training session a few weeks ago, and it wasn't going too well, and I was fed up talking to them, so I kind of said, "Look, David, if you want to say something," and he went berserk with them, which was brilliant. It was just passionate and about what he felt, what they could be going to do, and where they could end up if they kept working hard. So it's kind of worked as well so far.
Yeah, they were like being honest about before a ball was kicked and the draw was made. You'd be thinking Leighlin could be in a bit of bother here, because if you could have handpicked a draw to be as bad, like Jenny Mac, you had two teams that had just come down out of intermediate, and two good teams as well, like, and a very good Tinryland second team. And yet, like, when you look at the balance of it now, the way things panned out, it's a phenomenal turn up for the books. Obviously, you've had that a bit of internal self-belief, but like at the start of the year, I would have said probably some lads might even be looking at that and thinking that is a daunting task. How do you go about changing that? How did you go about getting into their heads, I suppose, and making them have that bit of belief to go on and come out with a group and get into a county final?
Well, the night the draw was on, I was coming home from a trip to Spain. I was in the back of a bus coming out of Dublin airport and logged into Facebook, and I did a bit of a scream, as you say, because with the two teams who had been relegated and then to Ireland. But kind of once we settled down and talked about what we felt, if we get out of the group, we thought it was very one-sided group compared to the other one. No disrespect to the other team. So we kind of said, if we get out of the group, be it straight into a semi or a quarter, we would be in a good position because we would have had three really good games behind us. And that was it. We just kind of kept telling the lads how good it could be if they kept applying themselves. The league was okay. We got to the semi-final, but it wasn't anything fantastic. And then we had some really good challenge games with intermediate teams around Carlow, so that kind of set us up. Then we obviously got knocked down badly by Clonmore in the first game, 17 points, and from then on now, in fairness, the players they've been brilliant.
Mm-hmm. I suppose now that you've mentioned Clonmore, we'll talk about them a little bit. And when you saw what they did to other clubs, I suppose after that first round, and obviously Tinryland then made amends for that to a certain extent in the semi-final. Like all if you're from Leighlinbridge, I suppose this is a great position to go into a county final in. The whole of Carlow's talking about Clonmore, and there's a lot of pressure on them, and they know it as well, I think. I suppose there is a deal of pressure on Leighlin to turn up and perform as well at the same time, right? But it's not the worst position you could be in. You could be coming into a county final in, I suppose.
No, like, I mean, the players were probably similar to last year in that nobody gave them a chance against Grange, and now we're coming up against an even bigger and better team and more hot favourites because of what they've done. Now, I've seen them in quite a few games. I mean, they played Air Oaks Intermediates in the challenge game and really put them to the sword, and I know they've had great games outside the county. So they've been brilliant, in fairness to them, blowing teams away. Now, last Thursday will have given a small bit of hope, but we know, look, we would have to probably be as good as we have been, and hope maybe they aren't under game, which can happen in a final when there's some hot favourites. So they will be going in. I'd imagine there'll be some nerves from them. I think we'll be okay, but we still have to go out and play well. If we don't, Clonmore just could do what they're doing all year. So.
In terms of your own managerial portfolio, you got a bit of kick out of Kilbride when you were down there. You've, probably, how long are you, 6 or 7 years maybe with teams now in terms of adult level? I know you're probably with underage sides before that too, but definitely I can remember you down in Kildavin on the line for Kilbride anyway in a game. Probably 7 or 8 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, 14 we went over to Kilbride and had 3 absolutely fantastic years with them, albeit a terrible start. We ended up getting relegated. I think it could have been the first year the teams were cut from 12 to 8, so we were under. Actually, Rathvilly beat us in the last group game, which meant they made the quarter final and won the championship that year, and we had a relegation game which ended up going to a replay against Leinster. And then the following year we were in intermediate final. The Blues beat us. The year after that, Bagnallstown in the semi, and then the boys then the following year in 17 won it. So that was brilliant. And I ended up going back to Aero then with Joe for a few years, and then went to the Fighting Cocks in 19 for a year.
Yeah, nice resume. Playing career wasn't too shabby either, in fairness.
It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't too bad. I kind of think now though. I got involved with the Aero Get the Media team as a manager in 2011. I was 31. I was happy to do that, but kind of looking back now, maybe I could have waited a few more years.
Yeah. I do kind of think that as well. Now, it does come down to one little facet in particular, right? Do you know when you're over, like just say this year was involved with Chris or whatever, both here in Clesson, and you get to play a junior game. When you get past, like, say, 29, 30, 31, you're seeing all the moves that you would love to make, right? And as the saying goes, when you get past the 30 mark, it's all head, no legs. And then for a lot of people, before the 30 mark, it's all legs and no head. And you're looking at things going on, you're like... And it's just a shame that that's where football ages now. Like, I mean, if you look at it now, a lot of lads at the inter-county stage are gone at 31 or 32. A club player, unless you're a Val Fleming or a freak of nature like that, you're looking at, I suppose, at junior level, if you can get to the 40 mark, you're going quite well. But there's not too many lads playing senior football up around that mark.
No,
you know what I mean?
No. And if they are, as you say, they're kind of maybe one-offs within their club at generation, because you can't do inter-county and club at that high level and sustain it. So it kind of, whether it's, I don't think it's burnout as such. Maybe guys are just saying can't keep doing 4, 5, 6 nights a week as I've been doing. But yeah, as you said, it's funny because we have so many young lads on our panel, and you're seeing things happening in the game, and you know the ball is going to bounce a certain way, and you're like, how didn't they see that? But they're able to make up the legs then to get the next ball and the next tackle. So it's a different thing.
That's the joys of it. Damer, we'll leave it at that. The very best luck on Saturday. I'm never really biased on the Left Wing Back podcast, but I hope the Jays you win. and thanks for chatting to us here. And the best luck.